Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's December 20th, and right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. You can see the dynamic storm off the coast of California. You got Oregon, Washington here. Check out some of the particular cloud activity here across British Columbia. Got some fog out there this morning as well, but our next system lies out here across the Aleutian Islands. You can see this batch of cold air. It's going to be moving across the Gulf of Alaska and into the Pacific Northwest, and then we'll take a look at the extended forecast because it looks like we're going to get active again here in the post-Christmas time frame here. So we'll dive into those details. We go through the video here this morning. Check out that fog across some of Portland, the I-5 corridor up towards Puget Sound, Vancouver Island, lenticular clouds here. We got some pretty dense fog out there across portions of eastern Washington, Oregon, BC, Idaho, and Montana as well. And I wanted to show you this video here from my buddy Reed Timmer, greatest storm chaser of all time.
To the viewers of Pacific Northwest Weather Channel, I just wanted to give a shout out to you this holiday season and wish you a dominating new year. Michael Snyder does great work up there in the Pacific Northwest, and I think it's awesome that you follow along his weather reports. And I just wanted to give you guys a shout out. My fellow weather enthusiasts, my fellow weather weenies up there in the Pacific Northwest. You get some crazy weather up there too. Some of those water spouts coming off the Puget Sound, those low top supercells, some of those big windstorms, the big snow events in the Cascades. I'm a big fan of the Pacific Northwest. But anyway, I hope that you have a very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, and a dominating new year. Never stop chasing.
Look at the hail dents on his car. It calls it the Dominator 4, F-O-R-E, because the golf ball size hail dents in his car. Fun stuff there. Reed's a great guy, so I'm glad he was able to work that out for me. Look at the channel. We're doing pretty good. 56,000 plus subscribers. Actually went back down a notch there. But yeah, you can see when things get active how the subscribers go up pretty quick, and then it slows down once things taper off. But we're going to get active again here towards the end of the month, so hopefully we can start pushing the channel up towards 100,000 here over the next year or so. Now, taking a look at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet, you got Washington, Oregon, BC here. There's Alaska. There's that storm impacting California. Put it into motion, you'll see that drop down, and then our next frontal system rolls through the area. And also in the meantime, I'll also point out that there is going to be some pretty impressive precipitation amounts across western BC. It looks like it's kind of nonstop rain all the way in through this weekend. But this will come through, bring some mountain snow, some precipitation with it, and we get a bit of a break, and then the Gulf of Alaska low really gets cranking here. You can see something moving through Christmas Eve there, and then the storm track really gets pointed at the Pacific Northwest. There's been some impressive precipitation totals here, and we'll dive into those here in a minute. And this is that storm off the coast of California, so let's watch how this goes. Look at this rain just kind of continuing on as we go through the afternoon, evening today, all the way in through Thursday night, and then the frontal system swings through the area here. We can just get some westerlies behind it, probably some kind of convergence zone across maybe the north-central Cascades, maybe highlighting Stevens Pass with some additional snowfall there. We'll take all we can get in a strong El Nino year. Then the next frontal system rolls in Christmas Eve. Not too impressive, but then the stronger storms look like they might start arriving here as we go through maybe the December 26th, 28th, 29th time frame here coming up, and more on that here in a minute. But I wanted to show you the 100-meter wind speeds on the European. So as we go on in through the day Thursday, you see the frontal system start to arrive here as we go through the day Friday. Some gusty southeasterly winds here. Then watch this wind shift as we go through the day Friday. The strong westerlies come down the Strait of Juan de Fuca and the Strait of Georgia here as well. And that's going to help bring that convergence zone there also, and maybe some gusty winds along the east slopes of the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, as we go on in through Friday night into Saturday. So taking a look at the accumulated max 10-meter wind gust on the NAM3 cam, just how strong will these winds be? Let's fly ahead here a bit. And you can see some of these gusty winds. Whidbey Island, maybe the San Juan, so Bellingham up into the lower 40s there. Look at Olympia 38, so a little bit blustery out there. Shows Seattle about 30 miles per hour, but you can see some of these strong westerlies come down here sometime during the day on Friday, and probably pushing up towards 50 miles per hour as well, just to the south of the San Juan Islands, showing some gusts up towards 50 there also, and maybe some gusty winds up towards 40 miles per hour for the east slopes, the Oregon, Washington, Cascades. Looking at Seattle so far this month, 6.87 inches of rain. We're probably going to be adding to that here as we go towards the end of the month as well, so we are above average. And take a look at this normal precipitation. We average like 1/1800ths of an inch a day, and then 1900ths of an inch back and forth. So yeah, it is definitely our rainy season here in the Pacific Northwest, and you can see record precipitation in inches here. These are 24-hour totals. Look at this, December 20th back in 2019, 3.25 inches of rain. Very impressive. Looking at Seattle Tacoma's next front. So right now the models are in decent agreement with about 0.3 of an inch of rain, and then maybe some more storms returning after that. This is Mount Baker picking up hopefully 5 inches of snow, maybe a little bit more, well, depending on just how persistent that convergence zone and where it sets up is. And some of those showers might continue on a bit longer than that. But right now, showing about 5 inches. Here's Stevens Pass, somewhere between 3, 4, 5 inches also, again, dependent on that convergence zone. Here's Mount Hood, actually uptrended a little bit here in the control run, kind of on the high end of the ensemble members here with up over 5 inches. Here's Mission Ridge, 2.5, 3 inches maybe. And the GFS. Now let's take a look at this. This is last night's run, the 06Z. There's that California storm moving down. And you kind of see this persistent precipitation just continue to flow across British Columbia as we go through the day tomorrow. Look at some of these amounts really just piling up. Vancouver Island is next as we go through Friday morning, then the Pacific Northwest. But you can see the precipitation amounts are just not as extreme here across Washington, Oregon, except for maybe the north central Cascades here as we go on in through Friday night. And then we start to bring the next system in here, probably sometime on Christmas Eve, again impacting some of western BC first. Not an exceptionally strong storm with that one, but then we start to get some more atmospheric river potential and perhaps some kind of sinister looking stuff here off to the extent. I mean, look at Vancouver Island, western BC, up the coastline here, and even some bigger amounts getting down the Washington, Oregon coast, the Olympic Mountains here in the Cascades also as we scroll all the way on into December 29th, we're looking at now. And as we go on in towards the new year here, you can see additional precipitation coming into the Pacific Northwest, strong rain shadowing, pretty typical here along the Cascades, Washington, Oregon, British Columbia. Starts to pick back up again as you start to run that atmospheric river activity back into the mountainous areas of the Rocky Mountains. Now, looking at the European yesterday afternoon, so there's the storm for California here, and we get this persistent precipitation ongoing through western BC. Frontal system moves through, bit of a mountain snow with that, and then we bring that Christmas Eve system coming through there. And the next system out here is quite a strong low, but you can see it is far away. It's a 954 millibar. Look at that, 953. Very intense storm, and perhaps bringing some type of an atmospheric river back up into the Pacific Northwest. This would be Christmas Day afternoon, actually, and then you can see that precipitation just continue to stream into the area here, and this is probably going to be jogging back and forth. That's a pretty strong storm in its own right here. Look at that pressure gradient off the Oregon coast here in this scenario here. That would be on Wednesday, December 27th. So we'll be watching these because there's some pretty strong storms showing up here in the extended runs of some of the GFS and the European model, with multiple rounds of additional precipitation as we go on into the new year. Taking a look at composite reflectivity on the North American model, put this into motion, and you'll see our frontal system start to roll in as we go through the day Friday. Can't miss it there, and bring some mountain snow with it. And as we go to the end of the NAM run here, you can kind of see that convergent zone there, maybe locally enhancing some of that snowfall across the central and northern Cascades of Washington. Now, looking at the NAM3 cam and total snow 10-to-1 ratio, this is just 1 hour snow totals here. So we're going to fly through this until we get to the day on Friday. And you see some of that snow across the Olympic Mountains, the Cascades, Oregon, getting a bit of snow with this as well. And you can kind of see at the end of the run, again, maybe some convergence zone activity enhancing that snowfall. Looking at the Fantasy Windstorm Hunt, continues to be, as always here, nothing just showing up that's gaining any confidence just yet. But somewhere around the 26th, 27th, 28th time frame here, there are some bigger solutions that continue to show up. So we'll just continue to watch that. Purely fantasy for now. 6 to 10 day precipitation probability outlook. You can kind of see it. Washington, Oregon, 8 to 14 day goes all the way through January 2nd. So yeah, storm track should be returning here to the Pacific Northwest. And this is experimental product here. It does show that slight risk of precipitation all the way up. That would include areas of British Columbia as well, and probably be even higher if you had me running that forecast. But anyway, look at risk of heavy snow, Cascades, maybe BC will be in on that action too as we go through the end of the month. Risk of high winds, you can see it up towards the coastline there as well. But this is just an experimental product. It's basically just a fantasy forecast, just something we'll be watching and seeing how the trend goes. But yeah, interesting stuff. There goes our next system out there. Storm track should return. California going to get walloped by this storm. Some areas are going to be getting some flooding out there. They got moderate risk down there for excessive rainfall for the next couple of days. Thinking about going down there, but I don't know if I will just yet because I have to work on Friday. Quick turnaround time. But anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.